Before we start, I would like to ask you to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to be the first to experience these bone-chilling stories. The imposing structure of the abandoned prison loomed before me like a fortress of forgotten nightmares. As I crossed its threshold, a wave of unease washed over me, chilling me to the bone. Ignoring the voice of reason that urged me to turn back, I delved into the depths of the forsaken prison, embarking on a nightmarish journey that would forever haunt my waking hours. The corridors were cloaked in darkness, punctuated only by the feeble beam of my flashlight. Dust particles danced in the air, carrying the weight of forgotten stories and untold horrors. The echoes of my footsteps seemed to awaken the prison's tormented spirits, as if they were trapped in an eternal cycle of anguish and despair. Whispers brushed against my ears, like the faint breaths of long-departed inmates. Their fragmented words echoed through the desolate halls, murmuring tales of violence, regret, and unfulfilled vengeance. It was as if the very walls of the prison had absorbed the pain and suffering of its former inhabitants. As I ventured deeper into the labyrinthine corridors, the air grew heavy with an oppressive energy. Cold drafts swept through the narrow passageways, making the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on grotesque shapes that seemed to watch my every move, their intensity growing with each step I took. In a cell block frozen in time, I glimpsed the remnants of incarcerated lives. Rusty iron bars confined the memories of broken dreams, while faded graffiti served as haunting reminders of the inmates' enduring presence. A palpable sense of sorrow hung in the air, as if the spirits of the prisoners were trapped within the decaying walls, yearning for release. As I descended into the prison's bowels, an icy chill clung to my skin, gnawing at my senses. The atmosphere thickened with a foreboding weight, as if unseen eyes followed my every move. Whispers escalated into anguished cries, reverberating through the darkness. It was as if the prison itself was a living entity, pulsating with a malevolent energy that sought to ensnare me. In a solitary confinement cell, the air grew stagnant and suffocating. A sense of suffocating dread settled in the pit of my stomach as I stepped inside, the heavy door creaking shut behind me. Shadows twisted and writhed on the walls, forming grotesque faces that sneered in silent mockery. Suddenly the door slammed shut with a deafening force, sealing me in the suffocating darkness. Panic surged through my veins as the air grew thick with an indescribable presence. The cell's temperature plummeted, and I felt a chilling breath against my neck, accompanied by whispered threats that made my blood run cold. Frantically, I fought against the invisible forces that held me captive. Desperation fueled my movements as I clawed at the door, pleading for escape. With a final surge of strength, the door swung open, and I stumbled out into the dimly lit corridor, gasping for breath, my heart pounding in my chest. The prison's malevolent grip refused to release me entirely. As I fled through the darkened halls, the echoes of tormented screams pursued me, growing louder and more frenzied. The prison's anguished spirit seemed to relish in my fear, feeding off the terror that threatened to consume me. Finally, I burst through the prison's imposing entrance, stumbling out into the moonlit night. The weight of the prison's darkness lifted from my shoulders, and I gazed back at the forbidding structure, a silent witness to the terrors I had faced within its confines. My journey into the abandoned prison serves as a chilling reminder of the inescapable grip of the supernatural, where the echoes of past atrocities continue to reverberate through the ages. Thank you for joining me on this bone-chilling exploration. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more harrowing adventures. As the sun set behind the looming walls of St. Augustine High, an eerie silence descended upon the empty corridors. It was a typical evening, or so I thought, until I embarked on a journey that would forever change my perception of the paranormal. I was no stranger to ghost stories, but the tales surrounding my high school had always intrigued me. Whispers of apparitions, strange sounds, and unexplained phenomena had become part of the school's lore. Determined to unravel the truth, I decided to conduct an investigation, capturing any evidence of the supernatural that lay hidden within its walls. Armed with a digital recorder, a flashlight, and a mixture of trepidation and excitement, I stepped through the heavy doors of St. Augustine High. The vastness of the empty halls seemed to swallow me whole, amplifying the creaks and groans that resonated throughout the building. As I ventured deeper into the school, shadows danced along the walls, their elongated forms taunting my senses. Every corner held a sense of anticipation, as if something unseen lurked just beyond my line of sight. The air grew heavy, laden with an unexplained energy that prickled at the back of my neck. I made my way to the abandoned chemistry lab, a room known for its unsettling reputation. The flickering lights created a disorienting atmosphere, casting eerie shadows on the countertops and shelves lined with forgotten experiments. It was in this room that I first felt the presence. A cold gust of wind brushed against my cheek, followed by a whisper so faint it sent shivers down my spine. My heart pounded in my chest as I began recording, hoping to capture any auditory evidence of the supernatural. And then, as if on cue, the sound of footsteps echoed through the lab. It was an unmistakable cadence, one that belonged to neither the living nor the mundane. Fear coiled within me, but my curiosity pushed me forward. I followed the phantom footsteps, each step growing louder and more distinct. They led me to the deserted library, where rows of books stood as silent witnesses to the spectral activity that unfolded within its walls. The shelves trembled, books flew off the racks, and whispers filled the air, intermingling with the rustling of pages. A sense of foreboding engulfed me as I listened intently, desperate to discern the source of the haunting. The disembodied voices grew louder, their tone a mixture of anguish and anger. It was as if the spirits of students long gone had chosen this realm to voice their grievances. But the most bone-chilling encounter awaited me in the dimly lit auditorium. As I stood on the stage, a spotlight seemingly materialized, casting a solitary beam into the darkness. The sound of a piano playing a haunting melody filled the air, each note echoing through the empty seats. I could almost see the ethereal figure of a young girl, her delicate fingers gliding effortlessly across the keys. My blood ran cold as the apparition turned toward me, her eyes empty yet filled with sorrow. Without uttering a word, she conveyed a tragic tale of unfulfilled dreams and untimely demise. She had met her end on this very stage, her spirit forever bound to the school she once called home. Tears welled in my eyes as I realized the depth of her pain. I promised the ghost that I would share her story, that her voice would be heard beyond the confines of this haunted school. With gratitude in her eyes, she vanished, leaving me alone with a newfound purpose. Leaving St. Augustine High that night, I carried the weight of the supernatural on my shoulders. The haunting I had witnessed had left an indelible mark on my soul, a reminder of the thin veil that separates our world from the realm of the unknown. And so, dear viewers, I implore you to keep your senses sharp and your curiosity alight. For within the seemingly ordinary halls of your own school, ghosts may linger, waiting to share their stories. Approach with respect and empathy, for the spirits of the past hold a wealth of untold secrets. I stepped hesitantly into the vast expanse of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, my senses on high alert. The abandoned buildings loomed ominously, as if whispering tales of a dark and tragic past. I was drawn to this forsaken place, seeking adventure and mystery, but little did I know that I was about to face unimaginable terrors that would test my very will to survive. With my camera clutched tightly in my trembling hands, I ventured deeper into the desolate wasteland. The once bustling city had been reduced to a ghostly graveyard, nature slowly reclaiming what was lost. The crackling of broken glass beneath my feet echoed through the silent streets, and an eerie stillness settled in the air. As I roamed through the ruins, an unsettling feeling crept over me. It was as if unseen eyes followed my every move, as if the spirits of the past were watching me, eager to reveal their secrets. But there was something else, something more sinister lurking in the shadows. A chill ran down my spine as a low growl pierced the silence. I froze, scanning the area for the source of the sound. My heart hammered against my chest as I spotted a pair of glowing eyes in the darkness. A primal fear gripped me as the creature emerged, a twisted, mutated form, its once familiar features distorted and grotesque. Instinct took over and I sprinted, my heart pounding in my ears. The creature pursued, its grotesque form moving with a speed and agility that defied logic. Panic surged through me as I desperately sought refuge. I stumbled upon an abandoned building, its walls crumbling with decay. Without hesitation, I ducked inside, my breath ragged and labored. The stench of decay filled the air, mingling with the acrid scent of something far more sinister. I clutched my camera, its steady glow offering a faint glimmer of comfort in the pitch-black darkness. I could hear the creature outside, its growls growing louder, more aggressive. It was hunting me, its hunger driving it forward. Time seemed to stretch as I navigated the labyrinthine corridors, my heart pounding like a war drum. Shadows danced on the walls, whispering secrets and horrors too terrible to comprehend. Every creak, every distant scuffle sent shivers coursing through my veins, but I pressed on, determined to escape the clutches of this hellish nightmare. As I ventured deeper into the labyrinth, I stumbled upon a room bathed in an eerie green glow. The walls were adorned with faded symbols and writings that spoke of dark rituals and forbidden knowledge. The air grew thicker, laden with an otherworldly energy that clawed at my senses. I recoiled, my mind begging me to turn back, but there was no other way out. As I cautiously moved forward, a bone-chilling screech echoed through the chamber. I spun around, my heart seizing in my chest. It was there, standing before me, a monstrous abomination, its elongated limbs and jagged teeth instilling pure terror. Its eyes glowed with a malevolence that pierced through the darkness. Paralyzed with fear, I fumbled for my camera, desperate to document this nightmare. As I raised it to capture the creature's grotesque visage, the light from the screen illuminated its twisted form. It recoiled, hissing in pain, and I seized the opportunity to flee. Adrenaline surged through my veins, fueling my legs as I raced toward the exit. I burst into the open air, gasping for breath, the creature's haunting cries fading behind me. I had survived the encounter, but the horrors I had witnessed would forever haunt my dreams. Chernobyl's secrets had scarred me, leaving an indelible mark on my soul. As I shared my story with the world, I knew that I had come face to face with a darkness that transcended the realms of the living. My footage, a testament to the horrors of Chernobyl, captivated audiences hungry for the macabre. The tale of my survival became a warning, a reminder of the lurking horrors that lay hidden in the depths of this forsaken place. I had braved the unknown, but I had paid the price. The memory of that nightmarish encounter would forever linger, a reminder that some secrets are best left buried, and that in the realm of the paranormal, one must tread cautiously, for the line between the living and the dead is a fragile one.
The deep ocean has always fascinated me with its mysteries and untold secrets. As an avid diver, I have explored many underwater realms, but nothing could have prepared me for the bone-chilling encounter that awaited me on that fateful dive. The day began like any other, with the sun casting its warm glow upon the surface of the water. The waves gently rocked the boat as I prepared myself for the descent. With each breath, anticipation coursed through my veins, mingling with a hint of trepidation. Little did I know this dive would be unlike any other. As I submerged into the depths, the familiar weightlessness embraced me. The sunlight gradually waned, giving way to a muted blue darkness. The vastness of the ocean unfolded before me, a realm untouched by the constraints of humanity. I marveled at the dance of light and shadows as the beams penetrated the water, creating an ethereal glow. As I ventured deeper, a sense of unease gripped me. The ocean seemed to hold its breath, as if whispering secrets I was not meant to know. The water grew colder, and an ominous silence settled in. I glanced around, searching for any signs of life, but the void stared back at me with an unsettling emptiness. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught my attention. I turned my gaze toward it, my heart pounding in my chest. In the distance, a pair of glowing eyes appeared, a piercing, malevolent stare fixed upon me. My instincts screamed at me to retreat, but curiosity urged me forward, drawing me closer to the unknown. As I approached, the creature revealed itself, a nightmarish being unlike anything I had ever encountered. Its body was a grotesque blend of sleekness and contorted limbs, its presence exuding an aura of primal terror. Its eyes burned with an otherworldly hunger, and its jagged teeth glistened in the faint light. Fear coursed through my veins, but I refused to succumb to its grip. I knew I had to stay calm and collected, to rely on my training and instincts. With each heartbeat, I mustered the courage to confront this monstrous entity that lurked in the depths. The creature circled me with a grace that belied its menacing nature. Its movements were sinuous, as if it were playing with its prey before the final strike. I could sense its predatory intent, its desire to dominate and consume. Summoning all my strength, I focused on maintaining a steady breath. I knew that panicking would only lead to disaster. I cautiously maneuvered, keeping a watchful eye on the creature's every move, waiting for the opportune moment to strike back. Minutes turned into an eternity as the tense standoff continued. The creature's patience was a testament to its cunning, as if it relished the torment of its prey. But I refused to be a victim. I was determined to survive this encounter, to emerge from the depths with my life intact. An opportunity presented itself, a brief lapse in the creature's attention. With a surge of adrenaline, I seized the moment and propelled myself away. The creature lunged after me, its fury evident in its blood-curdling screech. But I was faster, weaving through the water with a desperate resolve. I pushed my body to its limits, striving to reach the surface before the creature could catch up. With each stroke, the adrenaline fueled my determination, my will to survive. The creature's presence lingered in the water behind me, a constant reminder of the horrors that awaited those who crossed its path. Finally, I breached the surface, gasping for air as the sunlight kissed my face. I had escaped the clutches of that underwater nightmare. I clung to the side of the boat, my body trembling with a mixture of exhaustion and relief. The ocean had tested me, but I had emerged victorious. As I reflect on that harrowing encounter, I am reminded of the untamed power and unpredictable nature of the deep. It serves as a humbling reminder that as humans, we are mere visitors in a realm that conceals wonders and terrors beyond our comprehension. The depths of the ocean may hold breathtaking beauty, but they are also home to creatures that defy our understanding and challenge our very existence. My brush with the unknown has left an indelible mark upon my soul. It is a constant reminder of the resilience and strength that lies within us all, even in the face of unspeakable horror. The ocean is a realm of boundless mysteries, and while we may venture forth with trepidation, it is in those depths that we discover the true depths of our own courage. I treaded cautiously through the crumbling corridors of the old castle, its grandeur faded by the passage of time. The air was thick with an ancient, musty scent, and the weight of history hung heavy in every shadow. I was drawn to this place, an explorer seeking the secrets that lay hidden within its decaying walls. Little did I know that I would uncover a horror that would forever haunt my nightmares. As I ventured deeper into the castle's labyrinthine passages, an unsettling chill crept down my spine. I could feel the weight of centuries of stories and tragedies pressing against me, as if the very stones of the castle whispered of forgotten darkness. But curiosity pushed me forward, driving me to uncover the truth that lay in wait. I entered a vast chamber, its ceiling adorned with intricate but faded frescoes. A sense of unease settled upon me, as if the room itself held its breath, waiting for my next move. As I swept the room with my flashlight, my gaze fell upon a colossal wooden coffin, perched on an elevated dais. My heart quickened its pace, a mixture of excitement and trepidation surging through my veins. Could this be the resting place of a vampire, a creature of the night that had haunted countless tales? A part of me urged caution, warning of the dangers that awaited. But another part, fueled by a thirst for discovery, pushed me to pry open the lid and confront the unknown. Gathering my courage, I approached the coffin, my hand trembling as I reached for the ornate lid. With a grating sound, I slid it aside, revealing the darkness within. To my relief, the coffin appeared empty, the pillows and linens worn and musty from neglect. I sighed, my fears easing, and turned to leave the chamber. But just as I took my first step, a gust of wind extinguished my flashlight, plunging the chamber into absolute darkness. Panic surged through me as I fumbled for a match, desperate for a sliver of light to guide my way. With trembling hands, I struck the match and held it aloft, its feeble glow revealing a figure standing before me. It was a man, pale and emaciated, his eyes blazing with a crimson fire. My breath caught in my throat as recognition washed over me. This was no ordinary man. This was the embodiment of the vampire legend, standing before me in all his sinister glory. Paralyzed by fear, I watched as the vampire slowly approached, his movements graceful yet unholy. He extended a hand, his voice resonating with an otherworldly magnetism. "Welcome, mortal," he whispered, his voice as smooth as silk. "You have stumbled upon my sanctuary." I attempted to retreat, but my body refused to obey. His eyes held me captive, his gaze piercing through my very soul. I was at his mercy, caught in the clutches of an ancient and predatory being. With every step he took, the room grew colder, the air thick with malevolence. The vampire's presence seemed to swallow the light, leaving only the darkness to surround us. I could feel his breath on my neck, his hunger emanating from every pore. But just as his fangs descended, poised to pierce my flesh, a ray of sunlight broke through a crack in the chamber's ceiling. The vampire recoiled, his skin sizzling as he sought refuge from the life-giving rays. It was my chance, my fleeting moment of salvation. Summoning every ounce of strength, I lunged toward the exit, fueled by a desperation to escape the clutches of this ancient evil. As I burst into the sunlight, a cry of agony echoed behind me, carried on the wind. I dared not look back, for the mere thought of his piercing gaze sent shivers down my spine. I stumbled out of the castle, gasping for breath, my body shaken to its core. The weight of what I had encountered settled upon me, and I realized that I had brushed against the edge of an abyss, one that threatened to consume me entirely. From that day forward, I carried the knowledge of the vampire's existence, a constant reminder that darkness exists, lurking in the most unexpected places. The memory of that encounter has forever changed me, leaving me with a haunting awareness that evil walks among us, hidden beneath layers of history and forgotten lore. So, dear reader, heed my cautionary tale. Do not underestimate the power of legends and the truths that lie within. Be wary of the places you explore, for there are secrets that should remain buried, and horrors that should remain undisturbed.
The abandoned psychiatric hospital stood like a decaying monument of darkness on the outskirts of town. Its crumbling walls and broken windows seemed to whisper tales of torment and despair. And it was within those haunted halls that I found myself trapped, facing a nightmare beyond my wildest imagination. Curiosity had led me to this forsaken place, unaware of the horrors that awaited me. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the dilapidated building. As I stepped through the creaking entrance, a chill ran down my spine, as if the very air within was laced with a malevolent presence. The flickering of my flashlight revealed a scene of desolation. The remnants of forgotten lives lay strewn across the floor, tattered patient records, broken furniture, and shattered glass. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the distant sound of a door creaking open. A shiver ran down my spine as a strange scent filled the air, a mix of decay and musk. Fear began to gnaw at my insides, warning me of impending danger. But it was too late to turn back. I was already ensnared in the web of this forsaken place. As I cautiously made my way through the labyrinthine corridors, a series of low growls echoed through the halls. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end, and a cold sweat trickled down my forehead. I knew I was not alone. Suddenly, the overhead lights flickered to life, casting a pale, sickly glow on the peeling walls. The sound of heavy footsteps reverberated through the corridor, growing closer with every passing second. Panic surged within me as I desperately sought a hiding place. Ducking into an open door, I found myself in a small, dimly lit room. The stench of decay clung to the air and my heart raced in my chest. It was then that I caught a glimpse of my pursuer, a figure lurking just outside the room, its shadow elongated and distorted. My blood turned to ice as I recognized the unmistakable silhouette of a werewolf. Its hulking form stood tall and powerful, muscles rippling beneath its matted fur. The creature's snout curled into a sinister snarl, and its eyes burned with a primal hunger. Fear paralyzed me as the werewolf entered the room, its predatory gaze fixated upon me. I clutched at my flashlight, my only source of defense, and prayed for a miracle. With a sudden burst of courage, I shone the beam of light directly into the creature's eyes. The werewolf recoiled, its pained howl echoing through the corridors. Seizing the opportunity, I fled from the room, adrenaline surging through my veins. I sprinted down the corridor, searching for an escape from this waking nightmare. But the hospital seemed to conspire against me. Doors slammed shut, blocking my path, and the flickering lights cast twisted shadows that seemed to reach out, threatening to ensnare me. Panic welled up inside me as I realized there was no way out. Cornered in a dead-end hallway, I turned to face the approaching werewolf. Its snarls grew louder, its fangs glinting in the dim light. With no other options left, I reached into my pocket and withdrew a small vial of liquid, a potent mixture of silver and wolfsbane. Summoning every ounce of courage, I flung the vial at the creature, praying that it would buy me enough time to escape. The liquid struck the werewolf, sizzling and smoking upon contact. The creature let out a blood-curdling shriek, writhing in pain. Using the distraction to my advantage, I turned and ran, my heart pounding in my ears. Behind me, the werewolf's howls of fury echoed through the corridors, its pursuit relentless. I pushed myself to the limits, fueled by sheer survival instinct. Just as I thought I couldn't go on any longer, I burst through the entrance of the abandoned hospital, the moonlight offering a glimmer of hope. With one final leap, I escaped the clutches of the werewolf, leaving the cursed building and its horrors behind. As I collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath, a mix of relief and terror washed over me. I had survived the encounter with the werewolf, but the memory of that night would forever haunt my dreams. The knowledge that such creatures existed in the shadows would forever remind me of the fragile line between reality and the supernatural.
It all began with a seemingly innocent invitation, a call from a friend to explore an abandoned house on the outskirts of town. Intrigued by the unknown, I accepted, unaware of the horrors that awaited me. The house stood tall and foreboding, its windows broken, and its facade weathered by time. As I crossed the threshold, a wave of unease washed over me. The air inside was heavy, suffocating, as if the house itself held its breath in anticipation. Strange whispers echoed from the walls, growing louder with each step I took. The flickering light cast eerie shadows, making the once familiar rooms appear twisted and distorted. In the darkness, I heard the faint echoes of laughter and muffled conversations. The ghostly voices seemed to come from another time, carrying the weight of lost souls. A cold breeze brushed against my skin, raising goosebumps, as if the spirits were trying to communicate their presence. I caught glimpses of ethereal figures darting through the hallways. A woman in a flowing white gown, a child with vacant eyes, and a man with a sorrowful expression. Their translucent forms left a trail of icy chills in their wake, a reminder of their unearthly nature. As I delved deeper into the house's mysteries, I discovered a hidden door in the basement. Intrigued and filled with a mix of dread and curiosity, I stepped through, only to find myself in a realm where reality and nightmare intertwined. The room was adorned with symbols of the occult, and an ancient mirror hung on the wall, a portal to the unknown. Within the mirrored realm, a malevolent force emerged, a sinister presence that fed on fear and despair. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and its whispers carried a promise of eternal torment. I fought to escape its clutches, but the room seemed to shift and warp, trapping me in its nightmarish grip. Days turned into nights as I battled the relentless supernatural forces. Shadows danced in the corners of my vision, whispering taunts and sowing seeds of doubt. Sleep became an elusive luxury, as nightmares invaded my every moment of respite. Sanity hung by a thread as the line between reality and the paranormal blurred. In a desperate bid for freedom, I mustered the last ounce of strength and confronted the malevolent entity head-on. Armed with resolve and a protective talisman, I faced the creature that haunted Whispering Hollow. The battle between the realms raged, and with a final surge of courage, I banished the entity back to the shadows from whence it came. As I emerged from the haunted house, battered but victorious, I knew that my experience was not just a tale to be shared, but a testament to the existence of the supernatural. The chilling encounters within Whispering Hollow left an indelible mark on my soul, forever reminding me that there are forces beyond our comprehension. Join me on this journey as we unravel the mysteries of the paranormal and uncover the truth that lies hidden in the darkness.
I hesitated to share this tale, for the memories it holds are etched in terror and the chilling presence of the supernatural. But perhaps by recounting my harrowing experience, I can shed light on the horrors that can lurk in the darkest corners of our world. It was a crisp autumn night, the moon hanging full and heavy in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the landscape. I found myself walking along a secluded forest path, the crunch of fallen leaves beneath my feet echoing through the stillness of the night. Unbeknownst to me, danger stalked these woods, an ancient evil that would forever change my life. As I wandered deeper into the heart of the forest, a chill wind whispered through the trees, sending shivers down my spine. I sensed a presence, an inexplicable weight that settled upon the air. A growing unease clawed at my senses, urging me to turn back, to retreat from the unknown. But curiosity pushed me forward, the allure of unraveling the mysteries of the night overpowering my instincts. I pressed on, my heart pounding in my chest, every rustle of leaves and crack of branches heightening my apprehension. Suddenly, a bone-chilling howl echoed through the night, its haunting timbre piercing the silence. My blood ran cold, and a surge of adrenaline surged through my veins. I knew then that I was not alone in these woods, that something sinister lurked in the shadows. As if summoned by my fear, a creature emerged from the underbrush, its form monstrous and grotesque. It stood on two legs, towering over me with a snarl that revealed rows of razor-sharp teeth. The moonlight gleamed on its matted fur, and its eyes burned with an otherworldly hunger. I had come face to face with a werewolf, a creature of myth and nightmares. Panic gripped me, but I knew that I had to fight for my life, to defy the fate that awaited me. With a burst of adrenaline-fueled energy, I sprinted through the forest, the werewolf close on my heels. Its heavy paws pounded the ground behind me, its growls reverberating through the night. I zigzagged through the trees, desperate to outmaneuver the beast, my mind racing for a way to survive. In the chaos of the chase, a small ravine appeared before me, a treacherous gap that threatened to swallow me whole. Without thinking, I leaped, my body soaring through the air, landing with a bone-jarring thud on the other side. I scrambled to my feet, pain throbbing through my limbs, and continued my desperate flight. Through sheer luck or divine intervention, I stumbled upon an abandoned cabin nestled deep within the forest. The door creaked open, its hinges groaning in protest. I rushed inside, my heart pounding in my chest, and barred the entrance behind me, praying that it would offer me respite from the relentless pursuit. As the werewolf clawed at the door, its snarls a symphony of feral rage, I searched the cabin for any means of defense. My hands settled on a fireplace poker, its iron weight comforting in my grasp. I steeled myself, ready to face the monster that lurked just beyond the threshold. The door splintered under the force of the werewolf's assault, and it burst into the cabin, its primal fury unleashed. I swung the poker with all my might, the iron connecting with bone and sinew. The creature recoiled, a howl of pain escaping its jaws. It lunged at me, teeth bared, but I fought back with a ferocity born of survival. We battled in that cramped space, the cabin filled with the clash of our struggle. Blood stained the walls, a testament to the violence of our encounter. The werewolf's strength was unearthly, but my will to live burned brighter. With a final blow, I struck the creature's head, sending it sprawling to the ground. It lay motionless, its form shifting and convulsing until it transformed back into its human guise. I stared at the lifeless body before me, a mix of relief and horror washing over me. I stumbled out of the cabin, my body battered and bruised, but my spirit unbroken. I had faced the supernatural, a beast of nightmares, and emerged victorious. The world would never be the same for me, the shadows holding a new terror, but I carried with me the knowledge that courage and determination could triumph over even the most monstrous of adversaries. So, dear reader, heed my cautionary tale. Beware the darkness that lurks beyond the familiar, for there are creatures that walk among us, their existence hidden beneath layers of myth and legend. Trust your instincts, fight for your life, and may you never have to face the horrors that I encountered on that fateful night.
I hesitated before recounting this tale, for the memories that lie within are etched with fear and the lingering presence of evil. But perhaps by sharing my experience, I can offer a cautionary glimpse into the horrors that can lurk in the shadows of our reality. It was a night like any other, or so I thought. I was returning home from a late-night gathering with friends, walking along the dimly lit streets of my neighborhood. The moon hung high in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over the quiet surroundings. As I turned a corner, I noticed a figure standing beneath a flickering streetlight. Intrigued, I approached cautiously. A man, dressed in a long black coat, his face obscured by the shadows, stood motionless. There was something unnatural about him, an air of darkness that made me uneasy. "Excuse me," I called out, my voice trembling slightly. "Are you all right?" The man's head turned slowly, revealing a pair of piercing eyes that seemed to glow with an unholy fire. His lips curled into a sinister smile, revealing sharp, elongated fangs. Fear gripped me, and I took a step back, my heart racing. Before I could react, he lunged towards me with supernatural speed, his fangs bared. Instinct kicked in, and I managed to sidestep his attack, narrowly avoiding his deadly embrace. Panic flooded through me as I realized I was facing a vampire. With adrenaline coursing through my veins, I fled into the darkness, desperate to escape the clutches of this unearthly predator. The vampire pursued me relentlessly, his unearthly presence haunting my every step. The world around me blurred as I sprinted through the night, my heart pounding in my chest. As luck would have it, I stumbled upon an old abandoned church. With no other options, I darted inside, praying that the sanctity of the holy ground would offer me protection. The air inside the church was heavy, suffused with a sense of solemnity and ancient power. I sought refuge behind the pulpit, gasping for breath, my mind racing with thoughts of survival. The vampire's predatory whispers echoed outside, taunting me, tempting me to come out of my hiding place. But I clung to the flickering hope that the sacred walls of the church would keep me safe. Time seemed to stretch as I waited, each passing moment an eternity. The vampire's presence outside remained, a constant reminder of the danger lurking just beyond the church doors. But I resolved to stay hidden, to outlast the night and emerge victorious. Hours passed, the silence broken only by the distant sound of the vampire's frustrated growls. Dawn approached, its soft glow piercing through the stained glass windows, bathing the interior of the church in a warm, comforting light. The vampire, weakened by the coming day, retreated into the shadows. I cautiously emerged from my hiding place, my body trembling with exhaustion and relief. I had survived the encounter, narrowly escaping the clutches of the undead, but the memory of those haunting eyes and menacing fangs would forever haunt my dreams. From that night forward, I became a hunter in my own right, dedicated to protecting innocent lives from the horrors that walk among us. Armed with knowledge, weapons, and an unyielding determination, I sought out the darkness, driven by the desire to ensure that no one would suffer the same fate I had narrowly escaped. Remember, dear reader, that evil exists in the most unexpected places. Be wary of the shadows that loom around you, for you never know what horrors may be lurking in the darkness. Stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and may you find the strength to survive the terrors that lie in wait. The ocean has always held a mysterious allure for me, its depths shrouded in secrecy and darkness. As an experienced diver, I had explored numerous underwater realms, but nothing could prepare me for the bone-chilling encounter that awaited me on that fateful dive. It was a crisp morning when I descended into the abyss, my heart pounding with anticipation. The water embraced me like an icy blanket as I ventured deeper, my only source of light the beam from my trusty underwater flashlight. The serenity of the deep was both calming and unsettling, a reminder of the vastness and unknown that lay beneath the surface. As I navigated through the murky waters, a sense of unease began to settle over me. It was as if the ocean itself held its breath, sensing the presence of an intruder. Ignoring the growing knot in my stomach, I pushed forward, determined to uncover the secrets that lay hidden in the abyss. The darkness enveloped me like a shroud, obscuring my vision and heightening my senses. I could feel the weight of the water pressing against me, the silence broken only by the sound of my own breathing. And then I saw it, a flickering light in the distance, pulsating like a distant heartbeat. Driven by curiosity, I swam towards the ethereal glow, my heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. As I drew closer, the light revealed the outline of a sunken ship, a ghostly relic of the past. It seemed frozen in time, trapped in an underwater graveyard. My mind raced with thoughts of the ship's history, the lives that had been lost, and the mysteries that lay dormant within its rusted hull. With each step I took, the feeling of foreboding grew stronger, as if the very depths of the ocean were warning me to turn back. As I cautiously explored the wreckage, a strange sensation washed over me, a presence, an energy that permeated the water. I could feel eyes upon me, invisible watchers lurking in the shadows. The ship creaked and groaned, its metallic echoes mingling with the eerie silence of the deep. A sudden movement caught my attention, a figure barely visible darting through the debris. My heart skipped a beat as I followed the ghostly apparition, my mind filled with questions and apprehension. Who or what was this elusive presence, and what did it want? I swam deeper into the ship, my heart pounding in my chest. The claustrophobic corridors seemed to close in around me, the weight of the ocean bearing down on my shoulders. The air grew stale, tinged with a hint of something otherworldly. In a hidden chamber, I stumbled upon a scene that froze me in my tracks. A group of figures huddled together, their eyes vacant and hollow. They were not human, not anymore. Their pallid skin and haunting gazes spoke of a transformation, a twisted evolution brought on by the depths of the ocean. Fear gripped me as I realized that I had stumbled upon a horrifying truth, a secret experiment conducted in the darkest recesses of the deep. These once human beings were now mere vessels for an unknown force that lurked within the ocean's depths. As the creatures turned their gaze towards me, a primal instinct took over. I fought against the panic that threatened to overwhelm me, swimming with all my might to escape the clutches of this underwater nightmare. The echoes of their haunting cries pursued me, reverberating through the water. I emerged from the depths, gasping for air, my body trembling with a mixture of exhaustion and terror. The ocean had revealed its darkest secrets to me, and I was forever changed. The horrors that lurked beneath the surface were beyond comprehension, a chilling reminder that there are depths to our world that we can never truly fathom. As I recount this harrowing tale, I urge you to approach the ocean with caution and respect. Its beauty may entice, but its secrets can consume. The mysteries that lie beneath the waves may be best left undisturbed, for in the depths, a darkness waits patiently, ready to claim those who dare to uncover its terrifying truth.
With a mix of curiosity and trepidation, I entered the eerie domain of the abandoned nuclear power station within the Chernobyl exclusion zone. The air was heavy with the lingering scent of metal and decay, a constant reminder of the catastrophic event that had unfolded years ago. I had always been drawn to the mysteries of this forsaken place, but little did I know the terrifying truth that awaited me. As I navigated through the dilapidated corridors, the darkness seemed to swallow me whole. The sound of my footsteps echoed, creating an eerie symphony that reverberated through the silent halls. The remnants of machinery and control panels whispered of a once vibrant place, now frozen in time. A flickering light in the distance caught my attention, beckoning me forward. With each step, a chill crept up my spine, and an unsettling feeling settled over me. I reached the source of the light and discovered a dimly lit control room. The atmosphere was thick with a sense of foreboding, as if the very walls held the secrets of the past. As I scanned the room, my eyes were drawn to a stack of documents lying haphazardly on a nearby desk. Intrigued, I reached out and began to sift through the aged papers. What I found made my blood run cold. The documents revealed a horrifying truth. The Chernobyl disaster was not simply a tragic accident. It was an intentional act of sabotage. The papers detailed a clandestine operation conducted by a secret organization with the aim of destabilizing the power station and causing a catastrophic meltdown. The revelations were chilling. I could hardly believe what I was reading. The lives lost, the lives forever altered by the aftermath of the disaster, were not merely victims of circumstance but pawns in a sinister plot. Suddenly the room grew eerily quiet. I felt a presence, as if unseen eyes were watching my every move. Panic surged through me, but I couldn't tear my gaze away from the damning evidence before me. I had stumbled upon a dark secret, and now I feared the consequences. A gust of wind whistled through the broken windows, extinguishing the flickering light. Darkness enveloped the room, leaving me in a disorienting void. The silence was shattered by a chilling whisper that seemed to echo from all directions. "You weren't supposed to find this," the voice hissed. Fear gripped me, but I refused to succumb to the paralyzing terror. I clutched my camera tightly, determined to capture any evidence of the truth that lay hidden within these walls. With trembling hands, I activated the night vision function on my camera and continued my exploration. As the green glow illuminated the path ahead, the air grew thick with a malevolent energy. Shadows danced on the walls, twisting and contorting in unnatural ways. My heart pounded in my chest as I pushed forward, each step revealing more unsettling secrets. I stumbled upon a hidden chamber, filled with an array of sinister equipment. Tubes, vials, and ominous symbols adorned the room, a chilling testament to the dark experiments that had taken place within these walls. As I surveyed the macabre scene, I realized that I was not alone. Figures emerged from the shadows, their faces contorted in pain and despair. They were the victims of this clandestine organization, their souls forever trapped within the confines of the power station. Their anguished moans filled the air, their spectral forms reaching out as if to plead for release. I could sense their suffering, their desperate need for closure. The weight of their presence bore down on me, threatening to consume my very being. In that moment, I knew I had to leave. I had uncovered a truth that was not meant to be revealed. And now, the vengeful spirits of the power station sought to claim me as their own. I fled through the dark corridors, the echoes of their haunting cries echoing in my ears. As I emerged from the abandoned nuclear power station, I vowed to share my harrowing experience with the world. The terrifying truth I had uncovered at Chernobyl had forever changed me. It was a stark reminder that the darkest horrors often lurk in the shadows, waiting to be unearthed by those brave enough to seek the truth. The moon hung high in the sky, casting an eerie glow on the desolate landscape surrounding the abandoned hospital. Its broken windows and crumbling facade stood as a haunting reminder of the lives once held within its walls. I took a deep breath, suppressing the rising unease, and stepped through the hospital's entrance, my heart pounding with a mix of trepidation and curiosity. The air inside was heavy with a musty smell, as if the building itself exhaled the remnants of forgotten souls. My flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing a maze of empty hallways stretching into the abyss. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the distant drip of water and the faint rustling of unseen creatures. As I ventured deeper into the hospital, shadows danced along the walls, twisting and contorting as if possessed by a hidden malevolence. A cold breeze whispered through the corridors, raising goosebumps on my skin and causing a shiver to run down my spine. It was as if the building itself was alive, aware of my presence, and eager to share its secrets. I approached a room with a partially ajar door, the faint glow of moonlight spilling out from within. I cautiously pushed the door open, revealing a scene frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture and abandoned medical equipment lined the room, a stark reminder of the hospital's past. But it was the eerie silence that struck me the most, the absence of sound so palpable that it seemed to suffocate the room. A sudden gust of wind slammed the door shut behind me, trapping me inside. Panic surged through my veins as I realized I was not alone. A whisper, barely audible, slithered through the air. "Leave," it hissed, a voice filled with anguish and desperation. I turned, searching for the source, but found only darkness staring back at me. As I navigated the hospital's labyrinthine corridors, the whispers grew louder, their words jumbled and unintelligible. The temperature dropped, and an unnatural chill gripped the air, causing my breath to fog before me. Shadows flickered and elongated along the walls, taking on grotesque shapes that seemed to mock my presence. In one room, the stench of decay assaulted my senses. I followed the smell, drawn deeper into the heart of darkness. There, amidst a tangle of debris and discarded medical equipment, lay a lone hospital bed. My heart skipped a beat as I noticed a figure lying upon it, a ghostly apparition, its features distorted and mangled. It reached out to me, its voice a tortured whisper, begging for release from its eternal torment. The hospital's energy intensified as I delved further into its depths. I witnessed flickering lights that danced to an otherworldly rhythm, flickering in and out of existence. Objects moved of their own accord, propelled by an unseen force, defying the laws of nature. The walls seemed to pulsate with an evil presence, as if the hospital itself were a living entity, feeding off the fear it instilled. In a room at the end of a long, desolate corridor, I stumbled upon a series of operating theaters. The metallic scent of blood still lingered, conjuring images of surgical procedures long past. The air grew thick with a malevolent energy, and the shadows coalesced into menacing forms that circled me, taunting and teasing. It was in that room, surrounded by the lingering echoes of suffering, that I came face to face with a spectral nurse. Her eyes, devoid of warmth, bore into mine, filled with an insatiable hunger. She floated closer, her ethereal form pulsating with an otherworldly light. A blood-curdling scream tore through the air, and I could feel her icy breath against my skin. In a surge of adrenaline, I broke free from the hospital's clutches, stumbling out into the moonlit night. The dilapidated building seemed to exhale its dark energy as I fled, leaving behind a place forever etched in my nightmares. This harrowing encounter within the abandoned hospital has left an indelible mark on my psyche. It serves as a chilling reminder that there are realms beyond our comprehension, where the line between the living and the dead is blurred.
I plunged into the cold, murky depths of the sea, my heart pounding in my chest. As a seasoned diver, I had explored countless underwater wonders, but this dive was unlike any other. Little did I know that I was about to encounter a horror that would haunt me for the rest of my days. The water closed around me, enveloping me in darkness. The beam of my flashlight pierced the gloom, illuminating the eerie underwater landscape. I followed the contours of the coral reef, marveling at the vibrant colors and the teeming marine life. The silence was broken only by the sound of my own breath echoing through my scuba gear. Suddenly a chill ran down my spine as if 1,000 icy fingers had caressed my back. I turned around, scanning the darkness behind me, but there was nothing there. I shook off the unease, attributing it to my overactive imagination. But little did I know that I was being watched. I continued my descent, exploring the hidden nooks and crannies of the reef. The sea creatures darted around me, their movements graceful yet cautious. The deeper I went, the more the pressure weighed on me, a constant reminder of the inhospitable environment I had entered. As I reached a large coral outcrop, I noticed a faint glow emanating from within. Intrigued, I swam closer, my curiosity overpowering any lingering apprehension. But as I drew nearer, the glow transformed into a haunting phosphorescent green, casting an eerie pallor over everything around it. I reached out to touch the coral, my fingers grazing its slimy surface. In that instant, the sea around me erupted in a violent whirlwind. The water churned and twisted, obscuring my vision. I fought against the currents, desperate to regain control. But as the chaos subsided, a bone-chilling silence settled over the sea. My heart pounding, I surveyed my surroundings. To my horror, I saw the ghostly figures emerging from the depths. They appeared as ethereal beings, their translucent forms shimmering in the dim light. Their eyes glowed with a malevolent light, and their hair swirled around them like tendrils of smoke. The sea ghosts closed in on me, their wraith-like hands outstretched. I kicked and thrashed, desperate to escape their clutches, but their grip was inescapable, like icy chains encircling my body. Their cold, lifeless fingers brushed against my skin, sending shivers down my spine. I summoned every ounce of strength and willpower, fighting against the ghosts' relentless hold. Adrenaline coursed through my veins as I struggled to break free. And with one final surge of energy, I tore myself away, gasping for air as I swam frantically towards the surface. But the sea ghosts were not so easily defeated. They pursued me relentlessly, their spectral forms gliding through the water with an unnatural ease. Their haunting wails filled my ears, echoing through the depths. I could feel their icy presence closing in, as if they were determined to drag me down into their watery grave. With every ounce of energy I had left, I propelled myself upward, my lungs screaming for air. The surface grew closer, tantalizingly within reach. And just as I thought I couldn't go on any longer, I burst through the water's surface, gasping for breath. I lay on the surface, my body heaving as I struggled to recover from the ordeal. I glanced back at the sea, half expecting to see the sea ghosts lurking in the depths. But there was nothing there. Only the gentle sway of the waves and the sound of my racing heartbeat filled the air. To this day, I cannot explain what I encountered beneath the waves. Whether it was a trick of the mind or a supernatural encounter, I will never know. But the memory of those haunting sea ghosts will forever be etched into my mind, a constant reminder of the terrors that lie hidden beneath the surface of the sea. The silence of the Chernobyl exclusion zone hung heavy as I stepped foot into the forgotten village. The abandoned houses stood as eerie reminders of the lives that once thrived here. Overgrown vegetation and crumbling structures painted a desolate picture. Intrigued by the mysteries hidden within these decaying walls, I ventured deeper into the heart of the forsaken village, unaware of the horrifying truth that awaited me. As I wandered through the ghostly streets, a sense of unease settled in the pit of my stomach. The air felt heavy, as if charged with an invisible presence. The remnants of human existence surrounded me, the belongings left behind telling stories of abrupt departures. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, suffocating me with an intangible darkness. I approached a dilapidated house, its windows shattered and its doors hanging precariously. Hesitant, I pushed the door open, revealing a musty interior frozen in time. The stench of decay wafted through the air, mingling with the dampness of abandonment. Shadows danced on the walls as the sun's rays filtered through the cracks. As I explored the house, a chilling discovery awaited me in the basement. I descended the creaking stairs, my heart pounding in my chest. The flickering light of my flashlight cast eerie shadows on the damp walls. And then I saw it, a collection of photographs scattered across the floor. My heart skipped a beat as I picked up one of the photos. It depicted a group of villagers, their faces etched with fear and desperation. It became apparent that something sinister had unfolded in this village, something beyond the tragedy of the Chernobyl disaster. Driven by a morbid curiosity, I delved deeper into the village's dark secrets. The houses held remnants of occult symbols and strange writings on their walls. The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, as if unseen eyes watched my every move. One house in particular beckoned me. Its windows were boarded up, as if to hide the horrors within. Determined, I pried open the boards and stepped inside. The air was stagnant, heavy with a nauseating stench that made me gag. As I ventured further into the house, I discovered a hidden room in the basement. The door creaked open, revealing a nightmarish scene. The walls were adorned with more occult symbols, and in the center of the room stood a makeshift altar. My heart raced as I realized the true nature of this village, a place where dark rituals had taken place. Fear gripped me as whispers filled the room, a chorus of sinister voices that seemed to emanate from the very walls. Shadows writhed on the floor, taking on grotesque forms. I felt an overwhelming malevolence, as if the spirits of those involved in these rituals lingered, trapped between worlds. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind extinguished my flashlight, plunging me into darkness. Panic coursed through my veins as I fumbled to relight it. When the feeble light flickered back to life, I found myself face to face with a horrifying apparition. A figure cloaked in tattered robes, its eyes filled with an otherworldly hunger. Frozen with terror, I could only watch as the figure approached, its ethereal form swaying with an unnatural grace. It reached out with skeletal fingers, its touch sending a surge of icy dread through my body. The room resonated with its guttural voice, speaking words I could not comprehend. Summoning every ounce of courage, I fled from the room, stumbling through the darkness. The whispers and cries of the spirits followed me, haunting my every step. I emerged from the house, gasping for air, the weight of the village's horrifying truth pressing upon me. As I left the abandoned village behind, I vowed to share my chilling encounter with the world. The horrors I had witnessed were a testament to the dark underbelly that lay hidden within the Chernobyl exclusion zone. The village stood as a chilling reminder that even in the face of the unimaginable, humanity's capacity for darkness knows no bounds.
The crackling of the campfire was the only sound that pierced the stillness of the night as my friends and I gathered around it. We had set up camp deep in the heart of the forest, seeking solace in nature's embrace. Little did I know that this camping trip would forever change my life. As the moon rose high above the towering trees, casting an ethereal glow upon our campsite, a strange unease settled within me. The shadows danced and swayed, their movements taunting my senses. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. As we sat around the fire sharing stories and laughter, I noticed a subtle change in one of my friends, Jake. His eyes seemed to glimmer with an unearthly light, and his movements became more agile, almost feral. My heart skipped a beat as a realization dawned upon me, a realization that defied logic and reason. Curiosity compelled me to observe Jake more closely, searching for any signs that could confirm my suspicions. One night, as the others slept soundly in their tents, I decided to venture into the forest, keeping a watchful eye on Jake from a distance. I followed him stealthily, my footsteps muted by the forest floor. Moonlight filtered through the dense canopy, casting elongated shadows upon the ground. My heart pounded in my chest, anticipation mingled with fear. What would I uncover in the depths of the forest? As Jake reached a clearing bathed in moonlight, a transformation began to unfold. His body contorted, bones cracking and shifting. His once human form morphed into that of a hulking beast, a werewolf. Horror consumed me as I watched, hidden in the underbrush. The creature's snout elongated, sharp fangs glinting in the moonlight. Its limbs grew muscular, ending in deadly claws. The werewolf's eyes burned with an unholy fire, its gaze fixated on the night sky. Frozen in terror, I struggled to comprehend what I was witnessing. My friend, the gentle and kind Jake, was a werewolf. My mind raced, attempting to make sense of the impossible. How long had he kept this secret? And more importantly, what would he do now? I remained hidden, observing Jake's movements with a mixture of dread and fascination. The werewolf prowled the clearing, its senses heightened, as if reveling in the freedom of its true form. The night seemed to belong to it, a realm where its primal instincts ruled supreme. My thoughts turned to my friends, still sleeping peacefully in their tents. They were oblivious to the true nature of the creature in their midst. Panic surged through me as I realized the danger they were in. I had to protect them, even if it meant confronting Jake. Summoning every ounce of courage, I stepped out of the shadows, my voice trembling as I called out to him. "Jake!" I shouted, my words swallowed by the night. The werewolf's head snapped towards me, its eyes narrowing as if assessing the threat I posed. Fear and confusion flickered in Jake's eyes as recognition crossed his transformed face. It was a fleeting moment of humanity amidst the beast's ferocity. The air was heavy with tension as we stood there, locked in a silent standoff. With a voice that was more growl than human, Jake spoke. "You weren't supposed to see this," he said, his words laced with a mixture of resignation and sorrow. "You should leave. Forget what you've seen." But I couldn't turn my back on my friends, ignorant of the danger lurking in the shadows. I took a step forward, my voice trembling but resolute. "I won't leave without making sure they're safe," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. For a moment it seemed as if a flicker of understanding passed between us. Jake's gaze softened, a hint of gratitude shining through the fierce facade of the werewolf. He knew the risks, the sacrifices that would have to be made. With a nod he turned away, disappearing into the darkness of the forest. I knew he would keep his distance, watching over us from the shadows. It was a fragile truce, one forged in the crucible of secrecy and friendship. I returned to the campsite, my heart heavy with the weight of the truth I now carried. I knew that from that moment on, our lives would never be the same. But armed with knowledge, I would be vigilant, protecting my friends from the night's monstrous secrets. The camping trip continued, our laughter and camaraderie masking the newfound knowledge that lay between us. But deep down, I knew that beneath the facade of normalcy, a werewolf prowled, forever changing the dynamics of our friendship.